Let's start assembling the parts as parts. Make it look like a piece of furniture. This video is a little long, it's 20 minutes, but I really crammed a lot into it. So let's assemble. Hey, welcome back to the shop and the channel. As I said at the end of the last video, this one's been pretty much tweaked up and ready to go, and it can sit aside now. I'm going to do the upper larger cabinet now, which means gluing in these three horizontal dividers, and then letting those cure. Of course, let the glue dry. Now, as I said many times, there's two interdividers that go here, up and top and go up and down here. This whole section here is going to be just shelves with doors. The smaller drawers that are in the picture are on either side here. So the other thing I have to do, repeating myself again, is I need to drill the shelf pin holes in these two pieces that are going to go here. So we're going to take care of that in this video as well. So hopefully this will come together, stay square, and be ready to go on top of that one. Let's get busy. Let's drill some shelf pin holes. I'm using the Craig jig for that. I bought a double, so it can go longer without having to move it. The trick is to make sure I get it lined up so on both sides correctly. Well, I'm starting, this is what we're calling the bottom, B. And I'll start 4 inches from the bottom and move until I get to about 4 inches here. And then I have to flip it around and start from this side on the bottom here. So let's measure up that 4 inches. Where's my measuring stick? Give me a line that I can work from. So now I'll put a stop block on there, but first I want to hold this thing down so it's not going to move around. And I got to tell you, I'm loving these bench dogs. I forget what they're called. Anyway, I love those things. So I got a stop block piece of aluminum wood here for stop block, and I'll grink that down on the 4-inch line. Okay, and then the jig slips right up against that, and I'm using the other guy's Armoire clamps. I like these much better than the Craig clamps. The Craig clamps seem to lose their mind every once in a while. The drill is for the 5mm shelf pins. So it's all going to be 5mm shelf pins, which is what I think I've got the 1/4 inch around somewhere, but I'm going to stick with the 5-inch. And this is stepped, so you can use either the 1/4 inch drill or the 5mm drill. It's stepped because for a shoulder here that lines up with this hole every time when you're drilling shelf pins. So let's drill some shelf pins holes. Yeah, I know that ending line wound up off camera. That's okay. So there's the shelf pin holes. They need a little cleaning out, and the reason is these bits are really good, but they're not as sharp and as clean as they could be. I've used other bits like this that really clean the hole out. These are a little not as great, but that's okay. We can deal with that. Now that's how I'm going to do all the rest of them, and the shelf pins will be in place, and Mara can have shelves in this unit. Hold fast. These are called hold fasts, and they have very tenacious grip. So there you go. Can you see it? Bunch of holes for the shelves that are going to be in there. And this is the bottom. So this will be the left side, and the right side is over here, and we're ready to go. See, I've got this one already done. Where's the bottom? There it is. So it goes like this. Goes like this. So the shelves will be here, and then the little dividers will be here. So now it's ready to go in there when I get it glued up and ready for these. You realize in a small shop with large furniture pieces, getting camera angles is kind of tough. So I stuffed that camera over by my, one of my tool walls, and I'm ready to start gluing up the large upper cabinet. Now, I've squared it up. It's exactly 67 3/4 inches, corner to corner, corner to corner. But what I want to do is I want to remove this piece here and glue in the end, the top and the bottom, and then glue this in place. And the reason being is getting clamps on either side of this is tough because it's, you know, sitting on here. Once I get this glued up and it's square, I can go ahead and lift this up a little bit and get a clamp on the top and the bottom of that. So first things first is take this big one off. There we go. Put this over here. So what I want to do is I want to glue in this piece now, and then immediately go and glue that piece in. And double check for square. If it's square, walk away. Let it cure, then come back and slide that in place, which I'll be able to tap it down with a mallet, and glue that in place, and that'll kind of make everything rigid and ready for the rest of the parts that I want to put in this, which are all the inter parts and things to hold drawers and whatever. So let's get busy and kind of glue this piece up in place. Yes. Helps if I get all my tools together, doesn't it? Got the really important bits, the glue and the brush. And of course, as like I said before, these brushes clean out very nicely. So let's run a bead just like we did last time. Up here. One of the tricks is to check for square every time you do something to it. So let's put this piece up, and I can use the small clamps to hold it in place while I put on the big clamps. Okay, there's that, and I take a clamp here. Some good clamping pressure. Now I'm going to check for square because I did actually do what I said I should never do. So maybe I have to fix my mistake. Oh, 67 3/4. 67 3/4. So I didn't move it as badly as I thought I did, and it's fine. Let's put another big clamp up there, so I can get good clamping pressure, both sides, both ends. There we go. Clamp, clamp. All right, now I wait for this to cure. And then spreading it. I need some more over here. That in there. Okay, that sprung out a little bit, so again, let's check for square before I put the big clamps on. See, it moved. Okay, so let's see what I have to do here. Yeah, it moved. So I got to move it this way. There. With a few adjustments, it's back to being perfectly square. So now I got to leave it alone and let it dry and come back and do the middle piece, the other piece that I wanted to put in, and make sure this remains square. I'll screw the plates back down. So there we are. Well, you missed me putting in this place because the sound wasn't on the camera and I didn't want to do a voiceover for this. So anyway, what I did is I glued the dado, slid this in place, had to tap it down because it was a little snug, put a clamp on it, I lifted it up and put a clamp on the bottom. I've got a clamp up here, wait for this to dry, and then when it's dry, I'll be flipping this up on the base to put in the rest of the parts because there's some finicky bits that have to go on there. Anyhow, let's let this dry and then we'll put the rest of it together. Now, this was not made in a factory but by a bunch of CNC machines. There'll be some finicky fitting, but we'll get it done. Time to install the verticals. There's two large ones here, as you see me working on those. There's a small one here because there's two drawers up here and then the rest of the drawers here. I've got one of the small drawer dividers here, which I'll use to make sure everything's copacetic. Got another one. In other words, this is going to be nice and parallel. Although this dado is fine, this dado is fine. This dado has some problems in it because this is a bit wandered in here and it did some stupid stuff. Anyhow, so this is this side, and the bottom is going to go here, down there. And this has to be flush with these front surfaces here and here because these are going to get covered with cherry, and so we want to keep them all flush so that everything adds up, as it were. So that's going to go here, and the other one, bottom. So the holes for the shelves are now aligned with each other because I designed it that way. And then this one is going to come in here just to keep it copacetic because of that bad dado. Oops. Let me go around the other side and fit that in, see if I can fit that in there. It's tight. But that's what I'm gonna do to make sure this is all lined up with the damaged dado down there. So let's get to gluing these things in. It's tight around here, you know what? Like I said, small shop and camera angles. So the first one I want to put in is this one. And I'm going to spread the glue. Doesn't need a lot because I can't put glue up there easily. Bottom, I'll put it here. Okay. As soon as I get this one in, I'll, and set correctly, I'll go ahead and put vertical clamps in there to hold it in place. Glue. And glue. I know I got my back to the camera again, but you can see what's going on here. I'm putting glue on this, putting glue in the dado here. Though I slide it in place and clamp it down correctly, that glue is going to cure. Now when I put put one of these in here, I think I need to put it in the bottom to make sure it fits correctly. It's fitting correctly. There we go. So that's good. So what I'll do is I'll put a clamp back here. Yeah. Oh, just a little love tap. There you go, that's it. And it's a little bit of a love tap here, just a touch. There we go. So now it's good. And then clamp that down. And put a clamp on the back of both of those. This one's got its clamp, this one needs a clamp. There, look at that. So those are in place now, bottom and bottom. So these will line up correctly. And these are set, these were cut to match using the measurements from the CAD drawing. And now we have this little one because it's bowed up here a little bit. This has got to slide in here, but I have to clamp these together. So that's going to be interesting. Now it's not totally tight because I want to double check to make sure it's actually flush with the front. And that's good. And then these little tap. There we go. And there we go. Putting all these together and all that kind of good stuff helps to square everything up, get everything kind of squared up anyway. One more clamp in the middle here. Okay, we wait for this to cure, dry, whatever, and then start installing the small horizontals here and here, like this one here, where the small drawers are going to go. And like I said, these will stop at the stop dado, so that's fine. Anyhow, now we're waiting for glue to dry. Here it is, kind of done. So we have the carcass is done, all the dividers are in place. You can see we got two good sized drawers up here. We have the eight smaller drawers on either side. The shelf cabinet in the middle. The back is going to be beadboard and it's going to be painted, I think she wants blue. We'll pick a color out. Next step is I think I need to start making the drawer boxes. Now the drawer boxes are going to be dovetailed. So I'm thinking solid wood because plywood doesn't dovetail very nicely. Well, regular plywood is really good, expensive. Birch plywood does, but regular old furniture plywood you get at the Borg, Home Depot, places like that, doesn't dovetail very well. So I've got to get some wood and I've got to plane it to 1/2 inch and then start making drawer boxes. These will have full extension undermount glides as well. The lower cabinet has very large drawers in it. Those are some really big drawers. So I think everything will store very nicely. The drawer fronts are going to be inset drawer fronts, and they're going to have a bead detail around the entire drawer piece, the front itself. So you'll have you cut a bead detail and you fasten it all the way around the drawer front, and then they'll be fastened to the drawer boxes, of course. So that's where I'm at right now. So the next step, I got to hunt down the wood to start making the drawer boxes. Actually, I need to clean the shop up somewhat. But one thing I'm going to do off camera is I'm going to put the base on the floor, put this on top of the bases, and sweeten up the interfaces here and here where they come together, so that you may see a parting line, but you don't see a gap, because there might be some, slightly raised wood here. And then I'll lock them together and then drill the holes for the pins. They're gonna align these up, and the bolts. There'll be 2 bolts, one here and one here, I think, going to T-nuts to lock them in place. So that's it. So until next time, make great things out of wood and make a project that takes up half your damn shop. Later.